What is my coming out story? So I was getting ready for work one day and my daughter, who was 12 at the time, walked into my room and said, "Hey Mom, you said we could talk about anything, right?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." She said, "I have something I need to tell you." I said, "Okay, shoot." She said, "I'm a lesbian." She then broke into tears, and I remember saying to her, A, I don't know why you're crying, because I'm not gonna love you any less. I'm gonna love you more because you're probably gonna need it. And B, why the heck are you telling me this right now? I've gotta go to work and you've gotta go to school.
I was 23, just purchased my first house. So I think that gave me the freedom that I hadn't experienced before. So I started going to Philadelphia and I found this really cool club called Shampoo. And Shampoo is just a place you could be yourself. I was able to relax and just let my guard down and be the person that I really knew that I was. I don't believe I came out to a single person. I definitely came out to the community in Philadelphia, and that allowed me to just explore places like Philadelphia, New York City, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and just find groups of people and extend the outreach within inside that community. And I believe that that actually helped me become the person that I wanted to be and that I actually knew that I was.
So the very first time I came out I was 15 years old, and I came out to my cousin Karen, who was more like a sister to me, and I was terrified. But when I came out to her, she grabbed me and she hugged me, and she held my secret for a long time.
It's kind of funny. So I had come out to a couple close friends, and but it was still very, very much something I didn't talk about to a lot of people. And one of my friends accidentally let slip to my little brother. My little brother had done something to get in trouble, and my mom was yelling at him, and as a way to distract what was going on, he said, "Well, Joe's gay," and then walked out. My mom then proceeded to call me into her room, and we talked. She cried a lot, but it wasn't so much that she was upset that I was gay. She was upset about how the world might treat me after I came out.
I was holding Easter, and my half-brother Ryan came over a little bit early for the dinner, and he was helping me prepare, and he said to me, "I sent you a text message." And I looked at my phone, and the message said, "I'm gay." And I looked at him, and I grabbed his hand, and we walked right into my bedroom, and I said, "So what? I don't care. What's the big deal?" And he said, "Oh my gosh," and he just busted out into tears. And it broke my heart that it was so hard for him to tell me. And then he told me, "You're the first person I told, because I didn't know what to say, and I knew that you'd be there for me."
We had a lot of folks who were openly gay at the office, and so I knew that once I made it to work, I could have some good company to help me understand what my next steps were as a parent to make sure that I didn't screw it up. Obviously, the statistics show that LGBTQ youth have, higher depression rate, higher suicide rate, etc. So my main concern at that point was figuring out how to make sure that my daughter was not a statistic.
I don't think I really knew until I was in my 20s, honestly. I always knew the term lesbian, and I always, I felt like I acted on what I thought it was, but I don't think I really started to connect the dots and kind of look back on my childhood and when I first started getting those feelings until like my 20s. So, but in my 20s, what I realized was, I had those feelings from a very young age. Like, I'm talking about like kindergarten. I had a crush on my teacher. I still remember her name too. Her name was Angela Hart. She's probably like 100 now, but.
Because I look back and I remember having crushes on other boys as young as, the ages of 4 and 5 and some of my earliest memories, but I didn't really ever admit it to myself until a lot longer. I had never met a gay person before until I was about 15 years old. I was dating this girl, and she had an ex-boyfriend who was gay. And I ended up meeting him, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, things make sense now, and all these things started clicking into place.
I've known my whole life there was something different about me. I'm adopted, so I've known that, and I've known that my adoptive family, there was something different about me. But I think it was 12 or 13, I probably really started knowing that I was part of the LGBTQ plus community. And I think my aha moment was watching Knight Rider and seeing David Hasselhoff. That was probably the moment that I just knew.
My stepmom was completely at a loss. She wanted to send him to a camp to get it all worked out. Other members of my family didn't understand and were not accepting, and I took it upon myself to educate myself as much as I possibly could, and then also educate them. We're in a much different place. This is 12 years later, and everyone's getting along and things are great, but it was sad for me that folks just didn't embrace him immediately.
After my daughter told me, and after we had, the hour worth of conversation and questions, I asked her, we telling anybody this? What are we doing about this? And she said, actually, I've already told a few people. She was on a competitive swim team, and she told a few of the kids. I think it was that week that she had told them, and she thought that they were going to tell their parents and that it would get back to me. And so that was why she said, I knew I had to tell you because I wanted to be the one.
So my mom came around very quick, and my brothers were very supportive, and I had a lot of really good friends. But that being said, there were definitely people who didn't take it so well. I had a relative reach out to me and told me if I kept living this lifestyle that I would end up dead in a ditch of AIDS, and I had cousins that I wasn't really allowed to see anymore, and it was definitely a struggle.
I lost some friends, definitely had some harsh reactions from my family, some of whom I don't talk to this day because of their reactions. And when you go through those things, in the moment, you're hurt and you're upset and you're frustrated. But then the older you get, you just don't care. So I think that's where I am now. Not saying I don't care, I don't let those things bother me as much as it used to.
Was coming out a one-time experience. I chuckle a little bit because for myself, absolutely positively not. I'm out 24/7, I guess. I am who I am. I will never put myself back into a box. I have learned through not just myself, but through a lot of other people in the LGBTQ plus community, is that be yourself. Be happy with who you are.
I'll be going to get a haircut, and the hairstylist will say, hey, do you have a girlfriend? Who are you dating? And if I'm dating a guy, I have to decide in that moment, do I just brush it off and say no? Do I lie and say that I am? Do I tell them the truth and say, yes, I'm dating a guy? Because those things can very easily turn angry, can turn combative. You don't know how people are going to react when you come out to them. So as I've gotten older, I've realized that my identity in the LGBT community goes beyond just being gay, but also with my gender identity and my gender expression. And navigating that, I've had to both, again, come out to myself and come out to others through that. So it's definitely something that doesn't just happen once.
Try to be yourself, even as hard as it may seem. Mentally prepare yourself to lose people. That's the unfortunate part, but I think that if you prepare yourself, for the worst, when you actually do it, you're not surprised, you know what I mean? And you also may be pleasantly surprised that the ones who you thought would not accept you or would flip out, they actually might be your strongest support system. And I think that, you know, I'm grateful for the experiences and coming out, even with the loss of people, because it made me a stronger person. But yeah, I think that you'll be free once you actually come out. I was.
From a mom perspective, just definitely support. I knew that I couldn't do it alone, so we sought counseling, somebody who was there to help me understand some things, give me some literature to read, you know, give my daughter a safe place to talk, and again, just make sure that she wasn't a statistic is really what I would suggest, and educating yourself. Like I said, she gave me some good books to read. I talked to a lot of folks who, you know, that I knew from work that were gay, that were open about it and willing to talk and share. And I think educating myself on that was really helpful. And even for her, because she was so young, I was again so concerned of what her life was going to be like, and would she be held back? And so we did a lot of role playing, and that's something I would suggest, because I wanted to make sure that whenever somebody threw something at her, said something to her, did something, you know, that rubbed her the wrong way, that she wouldn't react in a negative way, go and get depressed, run and hide, but she would have kind of a canned answer that we had practiced, so that it wouldn't upset or offend her, you know, to the core.
Be true to yourself, and even if you're in a situation right now where you can't come out and you might have to delay coming out, just know that it gets better. There's so much out there in the world. The world is becoming a better place every day, and find those people that are really going to be there for you no matter what.
My advice would be love yourself, but you have to be ready to come out. Nobody can make you come out. The community can't, brothers, sisters, mom, dad. You have to want to be ready and feel comfortable with yourself. So love yourself, and when the time is right, you'll be out.
Be accepting, supportive, and understanding. And if you don't understand, take action and educate yourself. Those that are ignorant don't understand, but when you're educated, you can be fully supportive, participate, and help others.